rumors about Grand Theft Auto 6 costing $100 at launch have been circulating the internet for years at this point, but as we get closer and closer to the release, it seems much more likely given the state of the industry and how companies constantly try to get us to swipe our credit cards for as much money as possible. But it looks like an industry standard might be set before we even get to that because the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct was today. It went over fantastically until we actually got a press release and we found out that they are going to start charging $80 for digital editions of games. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I thought the Nintendo Direct was actually a pretty solid one. We got some From Software news, we got the brand new Bonanza Donkey Kong game, which seems really cool. Mario Kart World also looked fantastic. It overall was a really solid event, but there is a lot of troubling news that has really pissed off gamers because we are finding out that Mario Kart World will retail for $80 for the digital edition and $90 for the physical edition. Now, it is really important to point out that this is not an overall price at this point in time. They haven't officially announced that like this is going to be the standard because we do know that Donkey Kong Bonanza is going to be 70 digital and as far as we are aware, 80 physical. But they haven't made like a big statement thus far on what their plans are. So there are a lot of people talking about this on social media, and there is already quite a lot of backlash. So this Forbes article says it was just announced that the price of the Nintendo Switch 2 will be $449 with a $499 Mario Kart World bundle, probably $50 more than people expected, and $150 more than the original Switch 8 years ago. I do think that they are hoping a lot of people are going to just buy the Switch 2 and Mario World bundle, but either way, I don't think that they're going to have as many bundles as people are going to want to buy it. I mean, over the life of Mario Kart 8 and it being on the Wii U and the Switch, it has sold over 70 million copies. It says Mario Kart World is currently being listed for $80 on Nintendo's website. Another storefront says €80 for digital and €90 for physical. So that may be another $10 bump on top of that in some or all regions. Though weirdly, the new Donkey Kong Bonanza is listed at 70, meaning that it will vary game to game, which would be highly unusual. Yes, this does not seem like a long-term plan. Maybe they're just testing the waters with Mario Kart World to see how well it will sell, if they will see a dip in sales at all whatsoever. But I just have a feeling that that is the end of $70 games because just a few years ago, we saw the bump from 60 to 70. Now I think we're going to see the bump from 70 to 80. And we've known that companies want to push the boundaries, right? We have known that they've wanted games to cost more. I mean, you even had people over at companies like Ubisoft saying, oh, games should be way more than $100, but you're just lucky that we've given them to you for this price. It's a steal, which is absolutely crazy because what you are doing with pricing games at $80 or 90 physical is you're pricing people out. You are making it so less people can access your games or buy your games and the frequency in which they buy games. Because let's say you are somebody who buys one brand new game a month. You spend the $70 and maybe you need like I don't know, a PlayStation Plus or like a Xbox Live so that you can play the actual online multiplayer, but you might need that. Let's just say $70 standard, right? You spend $70 a month, but if games go up to 80, or if you're someone who buys physical, it goes up to 90, you might only buy one game every month and a half because the price is rising. And I'm sure that there are people out there who are going to defend this saying, oh, inflation and the industry's changing, but at the end of the day, if the industry changes so much and things get so expensive, the industry is just going to falter and it is going to see steep declines in sales. I mean, the video game industry brings in a lot of money. As we know, in 2024, it brought over $200 billion, where something like Hollywood brought in a $20 billion, but they cannot sustain that number if they are actively pushing people away. Now, I'm someone who, of course, buys a lot of video games, and I'm willing to pay what I would consider a chunk of change for a video game. But when plenty of video games now do not launch in a technically sound state. They launch buggy and broken. And then you have to consider the political ideologies that are pushed in them and the lower level of storytelling quality overall. There's no way in hell you're going to get people to pay $90. And of course, with a price difference in digital versus physical, if physical does go up by $10, it's just another clear way that they're trying to hasten the demise of physical media, which makes me sad. I still buy physical whenever I can, whenever I get a chance, but they're also just trying to kind of hasten the progress or what they deem as progress to the all digital future. And listen, I totally understand that going back to the days of the SNES, there were games like Earthbound that released at $90 and adjusted to inflation now. These games could cost significantly more, but the gaming industry is making nearly $200 billion a year. Okay, these companies are in reality not struggling. They are making more money than ever. And you also have to consider that they are selling us tons of video games now, more video games also now release than ever. So it's hard for me to sit here and say, well, technically games could be $130 or $140 because there is a wall that these companies will hit where people are just not willing to pay those price tags. And now we're getting very close to it. It says, though, that, of course, Donkey Kong Bonanza is listed at 70, meaning it might vary game to game. And perhaps the idea is that because of the Mario Kart series is Nintendo's most popular by far, they can get away by pushing that specific price up. But if they do it there, what else might they do? Yes, this is going to become the industry standard. We are going to see companies over the next year raise all their game prices to $80. And then they're even going to push the limits by raising physical media as well, which is just so heartbreaking to me. And clearly, I am not the only person who thinks that this is terrible because social media is blowing up with talk about this. And it makes me so sad because I thought the Direct was fantastic. There were so many cool announcements, like from Software, where we're getting Elden Ring on the Switch. It's I believe they called it the Tarnished Edition. We're getting the Dusk Bloods, which is another From Software game. We saw Mario Kart World, which looks fantastic. Bonanza looks really cool. I mean, we're seeing lots there, though this is just a move that I personally am opposed to, and I know many other people are going to be as well. Here's a post that talks about it from Jeff Keighley. You can play Double Dash on the Steam Deck for free. Rockstar Games CEO rubbing his hands together right now. And I always said this about GTA 6. I think that there are specific games that could have a higher price tag. Let's just say 100 for argument's sake. I do think that GTA 6 will probably be worth $100 because you're going to get hundreds of hours out of it and lots of enjoyment. I personally would pay $100 for Elden Ring because you could get hundreds of hours out of it and you get so much content and it's really good. But not every game deserves a $100 price tag. And now we are going to see companies raising the prices for all of their games, even when they are not raising the level of quality. Imagine having to pay $90 for an Assassin's Creed Shadows or a Star Wars Outlaws. That would be abysmal. Imagine having to pay $90 for a Dragon Age of Veilguard just because you want physical. Absolutely not. For what I have seen, it's worth that price. I personally don't agree. I think that, again, maybe this will come out and it will be one of those few games I would say is worth a higher price tag, but you have to do a lot there, and it's very worrying to see a company not have a kind of set in stone price for all of their games, and now they're just trying to play a game of how far can we push the limits. Nintendo's are the greediest motherfuckers in the industry. This is an interesting price and tells a lot. Activision could never do us that dirty. They only charge us $60 for Call of Duty. Oof. Well, congratulations. Thank Nintendo. It's not going to be $60 anymore. I love Nintendo, but man, they really do be gouging with these prices, and also no free digital upgrades like other consoles have done. Yeah, this is also something that people are upset about. It's primarily Microsoft that did the free upgrades because Sony did charge for some of them. So I wouldn't say that it is an industry standard. It would have been nice for Nintendo to do it, but I did never really expect them to because, again, they want to make money, and clearly this move is to make as much money as possible. If Mario Kart is 80, GTA 6 will likely start at 110 for a standard edition. EA just lost the trophy for greed. This is the worst thing that has ever happened. It's that expensive. The next game price jump is here, which I do definitely agree with. So I think that Nintendo has a lot to worry about at this point in time. Rockstar watching us all react to Mario Kart being 80, knowing they about to drop GTA 6 for 100 and it's a side eye. Seems like this will be our new standard going forward, and sad faces, just a lot of disappointment right now. So I will be keeping my eye on this over the next couple of days. Maybe they'll release a full press release. Maybe they'll try to be silent on it. Maybe they just think they can get away with it and they don't actually care about initial reactions. Only time will tell, but for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.